Hey YouTube, it's Chris from Team Universe X again. Just actually going to make a video, something I haven't done before, like on my old YouTubing thing. But the point is, I wanted to actually go over my deck list for my shop tournament for the release of this pack, and then tomorrow I'm going to add on to this video and show you guys the changes that I made and talk about that tournament report. So. Today I did end up playing red, black, mass sand kind of rush, and it's been doing pretty well. I pulled pretty well from my boxes and some of my teammates, so I have the Super Saiyan 4 and whatnot, so I could have done Mecha Frieza, but I don't really want to do that unless I feel like I have to. And right now there are a fair amount of viable options. You could be running, I think mass sand's very viable. You could be running Mecha Frieza, you could be running Mecha Apes. There's actually a lot of things you can be doing. There are lots of Super Saiyan 3 variants, but I'm definitely going to make a video about evaluating the starting meta of this set as well as some of the cards and their general power scale. But yeah, so let me just actually get into it. The one thing I wanted to do, which is pretty much a lot of players want to do, is apply critical pressure. Just slamming your opponent for cards they don't get to have. And then by that time, even when they're awakened, if they're awakening with 3 cards in hand going up to 5, that's not as bad as the normal 7 going up to 9 and whatnot. So there is that. For anybody that doesn't already know, Mass Sand, once per turn, place the top 3 cards of your deck into the drop area. If you place a black card in the drop area with this skill, this card gains critical. And if you place any other color in there, it gains plus 5,000. Then he's one of the new leaders, but he draws 2 instead of untapping 2, so that's pretty neat too. So basically, with him, you're constantly able to add just critical pressure. Because even with Vegeta, you had to combo, to get him over his 10k, his 15k. But this guy will swing in for 15k, swing in for 20k awaken, just without any combo at all. So, moving to the red side. Currently, 2 Rushing Warrior Pans. It's the closest thing red's going to get to a Majin Buu. Sorry for the camera moving back and forth. I'm doing this with my phone, kind of shoddy. But it's the closest thing that red's going to get to a Majin Buu. When you play it, you can give another red card plus 5,000. And when you combo with it from the field, you draw a card. This card has excellent amounts of synergy with things like Topo and Jiren. I'll kind of go into that a little later. Then for Kaba, no real need to explain that. Chances to awaken against Mecha Frieza. It's a 1 mana card that applies pressure. Lots of decks. I actually won one of my games today with it, so it still snatches games just like it used to. 4 Quick Rush Trunks, just a 2-drop 15k critical. The power level on that card is great for its cost. 4 Champa, because there are multiple critical threats in this deck, and I just want to be able to swing 4 critical. 4 Topo. Now Topo is another new card. He can be played as a counterattack. Play this card, negate the attack, and yeah, he can be played for his 4 cost early on, but of course you're not doing that. His main thing is that when your power is 1,500 or 15,000, or your opponent's 15,000 or higher, you can actually just drop him for 2 mana, and that's wonderful. His next thing is when this card KOs your opponent's battle card, switch it to active mode, and that's another thing we're going to get into in a moment. For Jiren, for 2 of the Unbreakable Super Saiyan Son Goku, he's essentially, once his focuses, is another super combo for the cost of 1. When you combo with him, he draws a card. He's a little weak, though, is what I found him playing today, so we'll get to that later as well. Then, for the black cards, 4 of the Supreme Kai of Time, World's Protector. Her ability allows her to be played when you have 5 or more cards in your warp, not when you actually have 4 or less life, which is another important factor. 3 Time Patrol Trunks, 4 Increasing Evil Mass Sand, which comes into play for Overwhelm 4, 1 mana, 1 energy. And when he comes into play with Overwhelm, you take 1 life to your hand, and then you choose one of your opponent's battle cards that cost 5 or less and just put it to the warp. Mira from the Darkness, you guys know what that does? This card, oh jeebus, like, it just does a whole lot. Overwhelm 4, 2 energy. When you play him, you just look through your warp pile and take a battle card. This dude, he's just nutty. Just stupid nutty. I'll get to that too. You guys already know what Mass Sand is. And then for my counters, 3 times Judgment and 2 Vados Assistance. Times Judgment is the new black counter that you can discard 2 cards added to your hand after using it. So, to talk about this deck real quick, Stuff is pretty simple. Every turn you can attack with Bardock and you're trying to apply pressure, you can mill the top 3 and just try to get plus 5,000 in crit. The critical pressure in this deck comes from the leader, Mirror from the Darkness, and Quick Rush Trunks, but mostly the leader and Mirror from the Darkness. Quick Rush Trunks actually ends up being energy probably 8 times out of it. Like he's energy a lot. Champa ups the destruction, furthering destruction. Yeah, but he basically allows you to go further in with critical. With this deck, you take most, if not all, of your life in critical until the last like 2 to 3. And Champa allows you to get your opponent down to 5 and then just Champa them down to 3. So I feel like drawing pretty well, if not just optimally, you're always going to put your opponent onto 3 life to have them awaken from that. So it's pretty cool. Now, you guys do know that Overwhelm cards go back to the warp at the end of the turn that you play them using Overwhelm. So this deck will generally use a lot of 1 cost, 2 cost Overwhelm cards. And then on your turn, when you start to swing into it, I have 5 negates because of Mecha Frieza, but I also have 4 more in the shape of Topo. So there are plenty of turns where I might have 4 mana, and I might play Mirror from the Darkness, Champa you on it, my leader has crit, and then on top of that, you swing into 3 open mana, and one of those is going to be Topo. And the kind of synergy this gives with a lot of decks is that if you're swinging with kind of a rush aggro deck that has 15 Ks, per se, Mecha Frieza, Topo is going to do a lot of good things, because a Topo on the field could board wipe decks if they don't have the combo power in hand to stop it. You swing on them, and whether they let the monster get attacked or creature battle card, I'm sorry, I play a lot of TCGs, whether you let the battle card get destroyed or you even block, if that monster, that creature, that battle card, I'm sorry again, dies, then you're going to untap Topo and he can swing again. So it causes a lot of pressure, and against Mecha Frieza, surviving the first 1 to 2 turns they get to swing is the hardest part of the battle. Past that, they're low on life. Their hand may be full of extras that they cannot use and abuse with Frieza's ability anymore, and so the combo tends to be fairly weak. Surviving those first couple turns is why I have things like 5 negates in the same deck. It's also why I try to limit the amount of plus 10,000 1 costs that I have, because I want to be able to combo out. Also, if the Frieza player doesn't draw broken, they're generally putting anywhere between 2 to 4 cards in your graveyard, making it very easy to come back with a Mass Saiyan or an Increasing Evil, get your Awakening off, do this. And generally their life goes down so little that all it takes is them not drawing the right preventative cards, and you can punch through that life. So, besides that, just a quick talk about the Just Shop tournament today. First round, I ended up facing Majin Buu with the whole Buu chain. I love the Buu chain, but I have tested Majin Buu with its chain a fair amount on untap. You're playing against your opponent while your deck plays against you. You have to Union Absorb, meaning you have to pull from the deck, and meanwhile, every time you swing with Buu, Buu puts a card underneath him and then draws. So it's like if you really want to play that game, you have 3 times a turn to screw yourself out of a card that you want for your combo. You draw for turn, hopefully it's not a piece you want to pull from deck. You swing with your leader, put a card on her, hopefully it's not a piece you want to pull from deck. You draw a card, again, hopefully it's a piece you did need to have in deck. And so inconsistency kind of caught the better of that player. He's a good player, but the deck just kind of did what it wasn't supposed to do. And the only time he was about to get a Buhan off on me, he drew it for turn and was pretty tilted before he even tried to move into his combos. So inconsistencies in certain decks probably shouldn't be played with certain leaders, but that's the problem. Moving on from that, I faced my teammate with a Zamasu deck that he put together pretty close before the tournament. Zamasu is in a weird place for this deck, because this deck is very, very strong, but as you can kind of think, milling yourself for 3 a turn, drawing 2 a turn, once you're awakened, you're going to run out of cards fairly easily. And so when you're playing against decks like Zamasu, you have to be really careful, because once you get under 15, 13 cards, you want to stop milling yourself. And generally by then, if your deck is performing correctly, they should be awakened, and so you shouldn't need to care about giving them cards to hand from damage. You should just be punching in the face as much as possible. We played before the tournament. I got that game fairly well. The second one we played in the tournament, essentially the deck is foo.deck. They get a huge graveyard, they foo you, and hopefully blow you out with the amount of cards they can play. And it just was one of those times. He could top deck Beerus, he could top deck he could top deck Beerus or the Rose promo, and I got him down to 0 cards in hand, and he top decked the Goku Black, played that, and was able to draw into a combo, and I was tapped out from trying to pressure his hand. I got a foo out of his hand because he had to protect his life total from milling himself out. So I thought I was playing the right moves. Maybe I was, but I just didn't get to pull out that game. The last game I played was against Ultra Instinct. Last game I played was against the Mirror. Another one of my friends, however, he was playing this deck except kind of polarized. There was a lot of early game, there was a lot of late game, there was a lot of mid game, and so just that combined with a couple of play line decisions, I just over advantaged him, crit a lot of his cards into the graveyard, and was able to take that. So to conclude kind of this summary, basically, and I guess past that, just to randomly go into this, I also, after the tournament, played a Soul Striker, just for funs, and I also played Ultra Instinct, kind of Super Saiyan 3 Goku.deck. In those, for the Soul Striker, it kind of went how I felt it was going to go. He was basically trying to say that Soul Striker was still super, super relevant. And most people that have been playing this format on Untap and Octagon know that this format is what I like to call like baby rattlesnake format. Most decks are very, very dangerous. The best deck in the format actually is the most dangerous in the first 2 to 3 turns of the game. After that, it kind of peters off. So Soul Striker, which is a deck that, kind of just chills for the first 3 turns, sometimes even 4, has a really bad footing in this tournament scene at this very moment. Mecha Frieza will love that setup to just do whatever they want with little to no interaction. So that pretty much went how it was. I got him down to 4 with crit, then kept pressuring him again. When I didn't want to lose resources from my hand to start blocking all of his big beaters, I just started looping these. And that is another thing you can do. He does not stop you from picking himself. So you can remove your graveyard, pick another one of Trunks, swing for a double strike, and keep going. That's actually how I try to attack Zamasu decks as well, because that's a double striker every single turn as long as the rest of my hand is pretty decent. I can just keep looping the double strikes. But yeah, Soul Striker pretty much got played out, got him down to 2 life, comboed for 80 on a Kaba, and Soul Striker, doesn't really have that big of a hand anyway. So that ended up going through. Soul Striker is kind of a weird matchup because lots of the destruction falls on deaf ears. They can kill my Jirins and Topos, and they don't really hit many of the cards that are actually doing damage. So moving past that, the Ultra Instinct Goku build I liked it a lot. I helped my friend build it, and then he furthered it because I actually wanted to pause on that until we get the BCC promos, because that's a much better Goku to put down on 3 than Rapid Spirit Ball, and it has barrier, so you can always evolve on it. But the fact of the matter is, against this deck, between the 4 increasing evils and the Mass Saiyans and the Topos, generally the only time he can get Ultra Instinct off on me is when he plays the entire chain in 1 turn, which is actually 6 mana and 2 cards from your hand. So that can be a little hard to do. It's your full turn to go Kind Sand, Dash Pack, Ultra Instinct. And so if he, tries to break up the combo in any way, I have multiple cards that just take out those cards. So he really couldn't get Ultra Instinct off until he got to his 4th turn. Let's see. 2 mana, 3, 4, 5. 6. So he had to get to turn 6 for him to be able to play it, turn 5, turn 6. And that was generally too late. You already saw earlier how many negates I ran, so Ultra Instinct was able to stay on board for 3 turns of me just telling it no until I just cracked his life. So, to wrap that up, the things I really, really liked. This card is New Bay. I love it. I pulled another one from my prize packs. This card's going to go up, collect it, sell it off. It is splashable in so many decks, and as long as black is a color, that card is going to be relevant. Hella relevant. Hella freaking relevant. So, past that, Jiren, I love, but who doesn't love Jiren? That, again, I'm reiterating, love it, love it, love it. Champa, you want to see it every single game. Topo did a lot. Did a lot. Just things that didn't do a lot. This card. Pretty much this card. And we're going to rectify that. So yeah, I am now going to skip over to tomorrow's results. And you guys can see how the deck changed and what I did to come to those choices. Okay then. So yeah, time skip. Hey YouTube, this is Chris from Team Universe X and Adam as well.
How you doing, guys? What's going on?
And we just got back from the Dream Wizards case tournament, and it was a pretty lively time. First and foremost, before even the normal rant about it's your boy, can we have subs, hit that like button, you know, stuff like that. I gotta give a shout out to Adam right here. He picked up Mecha Apes for the first time and top 8'd. Actually got second in seed after RS4 TV's Amani in the tournament.
I'm still trying to figure that one out.
But basically the mighty Ozaru has triumphed again. As you can see, he's got the Ozaru sideburns and the King Vegeta goatee. Prince Vegeta hairline. No.
Especially the hairline.
But obviously the Great Ape was strong with this one today. And basically, I think we're just going to do a 3-segmented video. I just wanted to give shout outs to this dude real quick. The deck list isn't quite anything too special. We put it together the night before at like 3 a.m. and then like daylight savings happened and it went to 4 a.m. and we didn't make a side. And so
legitimately there was no side. Anytime my opponent started siding, I sat there literally twiddling my thumbs and shuffling. And I played about, what, 12 game ones?
The mighty Ozaru needs no side. So
seriously, I don't know what happened.
So with that, like I said, just wanted to give a shout out to this guy and shout out to actually everybody at the case tournament. It was really, really good, and I'll go into a brief rundown on that. And then we thought you guys might want to see a little bit more openings, so I will let the prize boy himself open up all these packs because he won a box and 6 packs, and
yeah.
Then that should be it for our videos for the week. So yeah, next, let me show you the second part of this video that I promised, which would be just a quick explanation of this deck and how it happened. So, one moment.
Go.
Cool. So, in the earlier part of this video, I had my deck list from yesterday that I played in just the store like release tournament. But this is actually the list I ended up going in today. A couple of the, no, that's okay, fingers getting away, cameras all the time. A couple of the things that I changed, though. I went down on Time Patrol Trunks, and you can just come in close on the deck list. But I went down on Time Patrol Trunks, mainly just because of the fact that I find that most of the time I want to remove for 4. If I'm only removing for 3, I'm usually just wasting cards. And on top of that, this deck didn't actually really need Trunks. It's kind of weird to explain because Trunks is consistency, but all in all, it just really wasn't a thing. Went up on Mira, mainly just because really needed to be able to press for critical. This deck really just went in the fact that most turns I was swinging for 2 critical a turn in the early mid game, and then by the time you're at 2, I just start slamming with a bunch of double strikes. Kept that at 4, moved Mass Sand to 3 because I found that against every deck but Great Apes, he was monstrous removal. And I'll get into that later. Other than that, I have 2 Rushing Warrior Pan. Closest thing to Boo will ever get in red, at least for the time being. The biggest change here was that I actually included 2 Miraculous Comeback Gohans, and I loved him. So, moving forward from this, my first round played against RS4 TV's Jesse. Dude's great player, playing a Savage deck. We ended up playing to a tie. I think game 1, I was able to push him just with a lot of critical and win that. Game 2, he ended up crumpling me, and then game 3 went up to a tie. Round 2, I played against the exact same deck with just, of course, different card choices. And it was funny because I played next to my teammate as well as my round 1 opponent. My round 1 opponent saw us both set up our leaders and told my opponent good luck before my opponent caught the swiftest 2-0. So it just happens. I like that Goku deck, but when you put yourself down to 6, it's almost like clockwork. for this deck. You punch once with crit, put them down to 5, or if they're gonna use Caulifla, if you're gonna use Caulifla, you and my cameraman's the best actually, but no you kind of
trying not to fall.
Yeah, you kind of have to feel out how it goes. But if they have Caulifla and they go first, you let them have the Caulifla and you swing with the Champa if you have it. But point being, the goal is to have them go from 5 to 3. Whether you give them the crit and then swing again with a Mira, and that's another thing you can do. There are openings that you can force. If they go first and you go second, they only have so many cards in hand after they use their stuff. And so you swing once with the leader after milling 3. If you got the crit, play one more 5K on top of it, hit them for crit, play the Mira, swing with the Mira and Champa. That's my ideal setup because you put them at 3. And it doesn't even matter if they awaken early. The main thing about this deck is that it's very, very hard for your opponent to keep you off awakening. You've got 4 Kabbas, you've got 4 increasing Evil Mass Sands, and all of your stuff for the most part is overrun. It goes out of the field, and if they want their draw from their awakened leader, they have to swing on yours. That plus the fact that you're milling from the deck, you're generally going to be able to pressure the awakened leader, even unawakened. So pushing your opponent into awakening isn't really a problem in this deck. You will generally overcome it. So, yeah, 2-0'd the same deck game round 2. Round 3, I faced, I think it was Cell. It was mono green Cell, and I just felt bad for that dude. Every game, the game I opened up with essentially the same hand, because if you can't tell, I like consistency. I run 4 of everything, especially because I'm milling, except this guy. But he basically, the same couple turns, put him down to 7 because I feared TN, put him down to 5 because I didn't like TN, burst through him, and then just wore down his hand. Happened the exact same game 1 and game 2. Game 4, did we face it around 4 or 5? 5. So game 4 was the GT Mecha Frieza. One of the main reasons why I like this card is because when they burn out most of their hand, you've got this card to actually just come into play and attempt to swing. And they usually don't have a lot of combo power, but they have a lot of blockers. And so on turn 2, after comboing to keep yourself alive, generally you're low enough to swing with your leader, bait out what combo stuff they have in their hand, and then drop this guy and swing. And so this was monumental. Game 1, he wasn't able to fully kill me because I was able to open up, leave a man up for a negate, and I took almost everything. And that's actually another thing that I was doing, mind you. I would end up, if he went first and I end up milling 3, swinging, or milling 3, swinging, comboing, overwhelming, and that puts you at 5 in the warp zone, if that makes sense. And the reason why I do this is so that if I'm being attacked and he gives me any cards from my life and then I awaken, if I get any 10Ks, they're live from my first turn on because I have 5 in the warp. So my goal against them, if I'm going second, is to get 5 in the warp and leave 1 mana up with a negate in hand. I run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so generally I can mulligan into them. Doing that, I'm able to hopefully use any 10Ks that come into my hand if I don't have them already, and then also use Vada's Assistance. So game 1, that game plan worked. Summon Gohan, cracked him. Game 2, he did GT Mecha things and I died. Game 3, same thing happened except he was a little wary of this, but that actually gave me the pause I needed to build up in turns, and I killed him on 4 mana, and it involved 2 of these. Game 5, I played the man holding the camera, the dude I gave you congratulations to. It stung hella bad to build a friend to deck and then have him 2-0 toss the fuck out of you when you had 0 losses. So, yeah. Yeah, so that happened, and yeah, there's nothing much to say about that. Like, this deck has almost no interaction with apes, and that's the biggest hole I have to face.
It's just kind of bad that you kind of called it before we even started playing.
Oh no, when we sat down, I knew I was going to catch it. Like, I told him immediately. Round 5, I played a 3rd Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and we went to time. We both tied, and because I was 3 wins, 1 loss, 2 ties, I ended up being 10th place in the top 16, but not top 8. So, kind of stung. Just with a little bit more, looks like we could have had 2 of our team in the top 8 in another person's store. But, that being said, interactions that I like a lot. 2 times in this tournament, I finished off somebody by playing Gohan, overwhelming, getting a Gohan back, and playing a Gohan. And the field's so shiny. I love gold, and I love Gohan, and it felt good. That's all you need to know about that. When it came to the sideboard, since I'm going to be retiring this deck until the format changes a little bit, because I can't just run into a tournament knowing I have no interaction with one of the best decks. The sideboardo for Mecha Frieza, as well as Mecha Apes. This crappy poo-poo BCC card that doesn't allow itself to be blocked. It can be lusted, and it can be comboed against. In the Apes deck, I found that they can just combo against it and it hurts. But against Mecha Frieza, this normally gets in. This plus Gohan actually usually saves me a lot of games. Past that, this is kind of filler. I know this card is good, but I also feel like it's kind of like Gotenks. If you ever get Bloodlusted, you just wasted your entire turn on a 3-drop 15 critter. But it is what it is. The card is still good. Props out to it. Shoddy things. At least they're foil. 3 of these don't matter because the only purpose they serve in life is to evolve into these. It's a really shoddy way to even attempt to combat Mecha Apes because Bloodlust is a card, and we all know how cards are not good because Bloodlust can hit them, blah, blah, blah. Random rants. See the Dragon Ball Z community page on Facebook for more. Then, 2 foos. Bad. I kind of threw them in just to throw them in. The deck, this format doesn't really allow this deck to get up to that amount. If I get up to that amount, I'm usually actually just blowing my mana on Gohan, Trunks, Gohan, or, Gohan, Topo, Trunks, something stupid like that. 2 more, because against any deck that utilizes too many blockers, I bring these in because these tear up blockers. Tear them the hell up. So, that being said, I had a great time. If it wasn't Mecha Frieza that I kind of sweated, or Mecha Apes that I had no thing to do with at all, I crushed the crap out of a lot of stuff. Both my Super Saiyan 3 matches, if they didn't go to time, I was very confident in that matchup. Very happy. But of course, can't really give props to my deck list knowing that it loses to Mecha Apes when they're easy to put together and just so sturdy. So, that being said, let's move right into pack openings, and we're going to have to do this like speed rush to the max. So, let's go. All right, and now we are back here with the last part. This dude's going to open packs as fast as Ozarly, or actually as Samly, possible. He's just going to open up packs real damn fast.
Why am I waiting? Honestly,
yeah.
Here you go. If I can ever find the fucking... I did this fairly quickly in the last, the first part. Haha. Nothing.
The Ozaru calls.
Not King Vegeta, though. For some reason, I had 3 boxes. I only ever actually pulled 1 King Vegeta. Like, I actually had to borrow them. For just like I said, just for whatever reason. Boom.
He gonna pull 2 foil Planet Vegetas in his hoe. But he gotta pull it fast. I'm hungry. Okay.
I'm hungry too, man. Come on. Actually. That's that.
Super.
Boom.
Oh. Boom. SR.
Actually, I haven't pulled that yet. I'll take it. Or have I? I don't remember. Whatever.
Oh, the glare.
The Vasquez.
Oh, no. You haven't pulled a foil common yet?
Not yet, but... I mean, the first 3 were just from the actual box, so... Oh, speak of the devil. That's a fan.
Oh, when you gotta resist the urge to call your girlfriend so you can help open. You know what? Actually, hold up. Girlfriend power!
There you go.
With the power of girlfriend power, anything is possible, including freeing up your hands. Thanks, girlfriend.
Aha. Hey.
Oh, okay, fine.
I gave you your own set. Now.
Yeet.
Ooh. Well, foil leader, just...
Great defense.
Foil leader. It's the second foil I pulled.
Foil. Another leader.
Yeah, that's the set.
Cool. Oh, you have Ultra Instinct a full set now?
Yeah.
Personally?
Yeah.
Oh, that's lit. You have all these cards, right?
Well, what do you mean?
The cards.
Yes, you're in frame.
Okay, cool.
I can step over here if that's what you're asking.
No, you're good from your angle. I just want to make sure you could see all the cards.
I got all excited.
Yo, it's Booty Real though. Back the fuck up, yo, pools.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually really good. Oh, whoa! Okay, I didn't lie. So I gave you one, and now you have a second one, and... Alright. So maybe Apes was just actually the deck to play. Fu Shrouded in Mystery.
Haha.
Kung Fu.
King Vegeta.
Bet.
That's another one.
This box was made for him. Dimension Breaker.
Literally.
Ozaru's left and right.
Nice.
Yucky.
What is that? Whatever.
Oil Bergamo. Bergamo Space. The Bergamo Spice Latte. Finishing Spirit Bomb. Tommy Oku. Reliable Trunks.
Oh no.
Pan Leader. Unending Awakening.
It's not terrible.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah. Hyper Rush Vegeta.
Alright. We like SRs up in here. Oh, yeah. Sorry, not a leader.
Happens.
I apologize.
I think you get like 5 or 6 liters per box anyway. Terrasite Goku Black.
I mean. Oh, hey. I think we have a playset amongst us now. I've just spoiled that.
Really?
Yep.
Sure.
I pulled 2 myself.
Oh yeah, that is full playset.
Oh, I'm going to clean up the room.
Bardock!
No.
Alright, last two. I hate leaders. Wow. Relentless Destruction Mira.
I mean, we got like 5 of those now. Oops, I totally forgot to trade that dude. I think he left once he like scrubbed out. No.
Another Bardock. Boom.
And there you have it. We have pulled 30 packs? In 30 packs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 SRs. Isn't that bad at all? That's actually just 1 more than a box. 1 or 2 more than a box. But,
yeah.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll come up with more content soon. Probably after this week's locals. I might gather some people, or if I'm alone, just make a couple thoughts about the beginning of this meta. But, all in all, it's been a pretty fun and pretty productive weekend. Lots of packs were won, TP and normal. And looking forward to this game. It's pretty fucking awesome. Just remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the alert bell. Just, I don't know, share with your friends. Like, we just need more subscribers, as any YouTuber would. So one more time, congratulations to this dude again on getting 2nd place at the case tourney. Yeah. And 1 subscribe equals 1 prayer for my ass that scrubbed out at 10th place. Signing out.